right, now it's agent time. We're going to go ahead and click on deploy, same concept that we've done in the last 3 labs. We're going to click on use scenario, but this time we'll notice that we have a second agent. So there's some use cases where you would want a special agent, like let's say a marketing agent, talking to a blog agent, because there's some things that could be configured that the other agent couldn't do. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off and start deploying our actual agent. To do it, first let's go ahead and set up our webhook. Just like we've done in the past, click add, or you could reuse one of the webhooks that you've previously used. But for our case, let's always use a new webhook. And make sure you don't share this webhook. This webhook is basically the phone number to call your resource, which is very dangerous. So make sure you always delete the webhooks, especially these webhooks are not going to work anymore. I'm deleting them right after this demo. But go ahead, paste the webhook, send the data, and you'll see accepted, which is good enough for us to set up our actual webhook. You can see message was now displayed. There's a payload that it was able to accept. Click save. Now we're good to go. Now we need to also configure our actual agent. You can see that you can add knowledge, tools, or MCPs, even chat with the agent, which we'll do in our next session. We're gonna go ahead and drop down the menu, click on add. We're gonna use Make.com's out of the box AI models. If you don't have it there or you deleted it, you can always click add and you can always re-add it, or you can even add a different LLM. You'll see our different types of models. You have your large, you have your open AIs, different types of models. Again, if you're newer to LLMs, there is LM Arena, which I recommend. It's inside of the webpage for the actual labs. I recommend go check out LM Arena. It's a really great page that helps you understand the LLMs. Now, the instructions are extremely important here. It's saying you shouldn't write the actual blog. All you're doing is researching. And then again, like our previous examples, there's instructions that we set that our agent should abide by. Now, this is really not only able for us to tell it what it should do, but we also tell it what we want the response to be like. And this is the response that's going to be handed over to the actual other agent, which is our writer agent. And you can see that in this case, we're going to go ahead and configure our Make.com AI provider. It has different instructions. In this case, you're a blog writer, so you're focused on literally writing the blogs. And you can see that there's some rules that you can set, and these are all configurable by you. I recommend for you to play with it. This is yours to keep. Just be aware that it does eat up your tokens. So we're good to go now. We've configured everything that we need. We're going to click save and then enable. We can go ahead and ignore the, oh, actually don't ignore that. So if you have more than 2 active scenarios, because we are using the free, you could pay for this plan, but for the free scenarios, you need to only have 2 active scenarios running. Meaning if we go back to all of our scenarios, we have technically 3 deployed. But if we want to, what we want to do is disable one of the scenarios. You can see it's not working, and it sends it to the queue because you don't have an active scenario. So you can see that our lab 3 is not active, so we need to disable our lab 1. So lab 1, our AI automation, we're going to disable it. Now we can enable it. This is a cool way to understand how it processes data. It will hold your data. But the bad thing about that is that because we are telling it to run the old data, our listener on the website has stopped listening to it. So even though it's going to work, we've already stopped listening for a response. So we can watch it still kick off, which is really cool to see. The request was sent. The agent, the research agent, is going to use its tools in its toolbox to actually do the research. Then once it actually gets a response, it'll hand over the work, which in this case, that information, to agent number 2. And agent number 2, we're just going to go ahead and write the actual response. So this is something that you'll see across the board. Not only give us an actual response, if we look for the output, you see the actual response. But if we had this enabled correctly, we'll get a response. And we can actually rerun this entire flow again. So if you ever run into an issue, don't worry, just rerun it. And there we go. We can see that both agents have been activated. Full disclosure is this is not actually reflecting the live. If you want the live view, go back to Make.com and you'll be able to see the actual live view from Make.com. So if we go back and look at the running scenario, we can see that the running scenario, agent 1's done. agent 2 is actually writing, and now we actually have our response. So you can see how we troubleshot a little bit, but we have our expected results from the title. The actual takeaway is literally writing a blog for us. So these are two different agents that work together to be able to write a blog for, in this case, the fictitious company known as Lombard. So hopefully you found this session helpful. Super excited to talk a little bit more about MCPs, which is another tool in the toolbox for agents.